Hi, and welcome to this week's class of Zohar, Parshas Noach. I am your host, as always, Rabbi David Katz. All right, gang, we are here, and it's the beginning of our version of the yeshiva school year. So, big mazel tov. Now, in reality, it's not so simple to say that. Some yeshivas, like the one that I teach at, stops just after Shavuos. They run on a college schedule, which you would have, a college or school summer vacation. The yeshiva that I went to as a student, and most hardcore yeshivas, will go until Tisha B'Av. So obviously we're in the 3 weeks, and they will be winding down their semester. They'll be fasting on Tisha B'Av. And then they're on break for the 3 weeks, the rest of Av. And then Rosh Chodesh Elul. Not only those yeshivas, but all yeshivas, all kids in learning, all grown men in learning, will return to the Beis Medrash, no matter what, Rosh Chodesh Elul. Then you'll go for 5 weeks, and you will stop at the fast of Yom Kippur. Then you will stop and build your sukkah. You'll celebrate Sukkos, and then you will resume limud on Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan. Then you go through the winter. You'll go through the depths of the winter through Hanukkah. You'll come out of the winter through Purim, and then you will finish up the month of Adar. You will stop learning Rosh Chodesh Nisan, and then in 2 weeks you'll have Passover. And then you will have, a week and a half or whatever of freedom, free time. And then you are back in yeshiva, Rosh Chodesh Iyar. And then you will go, and while you're counting the Omer, and then you will run yourself up to Lag BaOmer, and then Shavuos, and then we've already reiterated the story. So again, we are starting our year on the very beginning of July. Why? Because that's just how we're operating. Get some perspective. We had the American trip in May, June. We came back in June, and some fellow Gerim toured with me and other people. Your friend Ari Fold, the Craig family, and the Matlich family. And we had a nice Ger experience. There was a Kabbalah on the Temple Mount for the 2nd year in a row. A big thanks to Rabbi Eliyahu Vider for taking that upon himself again. It was not planned. It was spontaneous. And last week, I think we all recovered. And here we go, beginning of July. So again, some yeshivas are learning, others are not. We are, and we're not going to do another trip, postponing the Cape Town trip till probably April or May. That gives us, the reason why I'm giving this little introduction, about a solid year's worth of yeshiva time, and we are starting our full yeshiva regimen now. So consider this the first class of the new GSS version of the school year. It's just, again, how it came out for us. So we're at the end of most people's semesters. Some people aren't learning. We are. And obviously we'll take off for the holidays. But as far as GSS is concerned, if you are here and listening to this class, you're here on day 1. So a big mazel tov to you for that. So this is Zohar number 6. We've done 5 classes. Those classes are available on getsoulstrong.com in the archives. Some are free and available on YouTube. And service announcement. We are putting out newsletters when we have news. And we do have news. The website has received many upgrades. For example, social media login. You can click your Google login and you're in 2 seconds. You no longer have to memorize your password. We have a stay logged in feature. Once you log in, you're never logged out unless you manually decide to log yourself out. So if you get email notifications for forum updates, people commenting and posting, 1 click from your email and you're back in the forum. No need to log in. and it's a much more refined product, I believe. So stay aware of the newsletters. Whenever we have news, that will be how we get that news out. And again, the classes are archived there. The whole experience is there. Get yourself in a GSS, and please get the forums going. There's plenty to talk about, whether it's class material, parsha material, or Torah conversations that you are having with your friends and peers and study partners. Zohar Parshas Noach number 6. Last week, which is not really last week, but we'll call it last week, we ended off with a kasha. What is the teva, which you will wrongly translate as ark? What is the ark? That's what the Noah-ists of the Torah and Kabbalah and Zohar are interested in. They're not interested in giraffes and panda bears. They're not interested in fairy tales, maybe not even in floodwaters. The question, even more than Noah, the man himself, is what is/was the ark? And the word ark doesn't even exist. The word is teva. And this week and last week we asked and realized to ask, what is the teva? This week we want to answer that question, what is the teva? We're in Mishnah number 12 in Noach. I'll go ahead and read and roughly translate. Don't expect too much meaning from my translation. The meaning will come from my notes. So when you see me close my book, that means we're in the notes based on what we just read. Ve'akol echad b'dimyon echad. Everything is one and one thought. Klaimar, that is to say, ha'anafim lamata, the branches below, daimim l'shorashayim shemalamala. The branches below are similar to their roots above. Umeshum zeh oimer kasuv, and because of that, it is written, these are the offspring of Noach. Eila, these are Vadai. It's these actual three people. Cham, Yafis, and Shem. They are the Toldus. Upasul Eseri Shoinim. And they nullified all and everything that came before them. So the three sons of Noach, the Toldos, they are it. It's like when Michael Jordan came out, basketball became Michael Jordanism. When Mozart came out, music became Mozartism. When Vendel Jones came out, Goyeshakite became Noah-ism. And when the sons of Noah came out of Noah, you had the newest fad and ideology that dominated the world, Noah-ism, from the Noah sons-ism. And the world cannot endure any longer. They shattered the world. There's no more world. Because the foundation of the world is Noah. That's like saying, we want to make Mickey Mouse the star of the National Basketball Association. It just can't work. So when we have Mickey Mouse and then Michael Jordan comes out, or better yet, a better analogy for you sports fans, baseball, I'm guessing, was a joke until you had Babe Ruth. Something like that. Computers were a joke until you had, what's his name? Bill Gates. You can make this analogy a million ways as well. So the first ones could not endure the world. Only the foundation of the world, which is Noach, and he made the fruits that maintain the world. So without Noah-ism, there is no world. Once there was Noah-ism, God wiped out the world in your floodwaters that surrounded the Teva, whatever that is. Today, there are still B'nai Noach. The B'nai Noach are what maintain the world. I'm also going to bring in from my notes now, from my memory, but we will go back and visit the notes more. Rabbi Hutner in Pachad Yitzchak says, the 7 laws of Noah's function is Kiyum Olam, maintaining the world. And look, ironically enough, there are B'nai Noach today. And the world doesn't even look like it should exist. But we have B'nai Noach. And the world has never been short of Noah-ism since Noah. And we know that before Noah, everything was destroyed. Whatever way you want to understand that, the world was destroyed. Noah, and by merit of that which came out of him, the sons went out, conquered the world with Noah-ism. Asa Rabbi Abba, v'nishku l'Rebbi Elazar. Amar ha'arye b'kleicho. So Rabbi Abba visited Rabbi Elazar, and he said, you are like a lion filled with energy. Nekev v'shavir evin. Poke through and break the stone, which is to say, shehaya satum, that he was closed up. And it was difficult to him to explain the scriptures, these scriptures, like a difficult stone. The Rabbi Elazar hasir hakushiyas mehim. And Rabbi Elazar removed the difficulties from them. Now remember our main intention for doing this series. The intention is that Noah makes no sense. Was there a massive flood? Is it a fairy tale? Was it about a man in his boat like Gilligan's Island? What are we to get from Noah? We call that Pshita. I call it Pshita-ism, which is taking the Torah so literal and fairy tale-like that you don't understand the wisdom of Torah. And what they're saying here is, those are called kushiot. It's very difficult to understand a man in his boat in the flood, and we're going to answer those questions now. Keinu vadai. Shekula nemar b'noyach v'teva lamata roimiz al shorashayim shamayla be'atzilus. Everything that was said about Noach and his teva below, meaning as you read Parshas Noach in Hebrew, not in English, Rabbi Arthur Scroll doesn't count here. It is exactly hinting as its roots above in Atzilus. Now come and check this out. Even when the measure of the Teva is also such. So yeah, we're actually going to make it seem in Scripture there was a boat and a measuring rod and the measurements, da-da-da-da-dee. And we're saying don't lose the literalness, because it provides context. But the measurements of the ark, which we're not calling it an ark, it's a teva, also fits this mold of so below, so above. That is to say that the hints, or the allusion, as in alluded to, on the measure of the building of the mentalities, the mochin, that are in the teva above, which is malchus, which is built by the means of Yesod of Zeranpin. Okay, let's suppose that you have an invention. In fact, I'm looking at an invention right now. There's this thing, I don't know if you've heard of it, called a camera, particularly a video camera. I see it as this little black box thing, and it's got a thing and a couple things, and I know how to work it like a novice. Now, assuming that my novice skills will capture now, this is now, put it up on YouTube, and we'll have a video. Number one, I don't understand how the camera works. If I was really good in my mentalities, I would take lessons about how to better use my camera, and I would find out that there's all kinds of settings that I'm unaware of, not using, and would enhance this production. And then there's even, did I pick the right camera? Maybe my camera is so good, but I don't even know why. Because I don't understand the mentalities. Some guy in some lab sat down with his teamsters and they devised all the mentalities. The size of the lens, the size of the camera, the weight of the camera, where to import the magnets if they're in there, how it fits on a tripod so it doesn't shake. Those are called mentalities. I don't have those mentalities. I just have, take my credit card, give me a camera so I can pretend to make a video that's decent enough to put up on YouTube. But if I really understood it, I would have in my mind this thing called the camera. So in the spiritual world above, there are 10 sfirot. We know that. Keter, Chochma, Bina, Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzachot, Yesod, Malchus. Whatever those things are, which is irrelevant for the class. Let's say there's these 10 essential aspects of a camera. The lens, the tripod, the pouch, the viewing thing, the zooming thing, the recording thing, and the other things. There were actually 10 powers that make a camera. And the 10th power of a camera is the camera itself. And all the other 9 powers come into what we see as the camera. According to this analogy, that's called Malchus above, the absolute totality of creation revealed, and it was built by the level above it called the Yesod of Zeranpin. We would call that the makers of the camera. And remember, we're comparing that to a boat in our world, and the measurements of the boat, called the Teva, mimic Malchus and Zeranpin above. So if a camera is actually a divine creation, then it's actually not a camera. It's a parallel to a divine creation. But it's not that. However, the Teva of Noah, as we describe it in our Humash, as this boat or the ark, whatever it is, the story is told to give you the context and the vessel necessary to contain how to build this thing which reflects its essence above, which is Malchus. So what is Malchus? It's the ark. What is the ark? It is Malchus. What is the ark? It is the totality of Mochin. What is Malchus? It is the totality of Mochin. Noah builds the ark. The tzaddik above builds the ark or the teva. And there is length, and there is width, and there is height. So as we in our world call it length and width and height. And let's say the fundamentals of a camera are the picture and the photographer and the actual recorded video. Well, we're just making that up, but for context. So therefore, if the camera were this divine thing, that would mean that in heaven, there is the picture, the da-da-da-da-dee, da-da-da-da-da. All right? The Malchus above, Teva below. A camera's not that. Let's not pretend that on that level. But Noah was tapping into the procedures of how to have the mentality, the Mochin, that builds Malchus above. He built it below. And the below is actually symbolic of his Mochin. For example, if the Teva is the Mochin, and the boat is to be 30 feet long, then his Mochin are 30 feet long. You'll say, how does a person have 30 foot long intellect? I don't know. I don't live in a spiritual realm. But if I did, I would say, yeah, it's 30 feet long. And there are 3 measurements which correspond to wisdom, understanding, and knowledge, Chabad. The length is the secret of Chokmah, but it is drawn from Bina, which is made for Chokhmah, and that its emanation is the secret of the hundreds. Therefore, the Gimel Rishonim, the first three Sfirot, Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, that the Teva receives, the Malchus above receives, that Noah's creation received, was the secret of 300 amas, or length units, the length of the Teva, which is to say, Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, each one was 100, and therefore 300. The width is the secret of Bina, which is coming from the aspect of the Chasidim that are in it, which is interesting because the Chachma gives the Chasidim, and therefore Bina receives from Chachma, and wisdom receives from Bina, and that's how we got the hundreds. So again, vice versa here. And they are enlightening all 5 levels, Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, Tiferes, and Malchus. So now the width is the enlightenment of the 5 levels of Atzilus. And in the middle of these Chasidim, you check out every sphera, Nivchenis kol sphera rak le'asara. Every sphere is made up of 10, and this is the secret of 50 of the width. So the 5 main aspects having 10 times 5, last time I checked is 50. And the height is the secret of Das, which is the inclusion of wisdom, the Chasadim together. Which, like the image of or the example of the height, which is symbolic of the inclusion and size of the length and the width together, and it is drawn to the ark, the Teva, from Zeranpin, whose emanations or sfirot are the secret of tens, and the Gimel Rishonim of it are enlightened, Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, just like the length. And therefore it's written 30 amas in height. Behold, the measurements of the building of the ark were by Noah. They are the measurements of the building of Malchus by the Yesod of Zeranpin. That's the Zohar on 12. Let's see if I can get my notes right. Meaning, let's try to cover everything. I'll do this a little bit fractured because I want to cover it all. So again, Zohar Noach number 6, number 12. Let's go ahead and cross these off just so I don't lose track. Now, again, I'm gonna give this over out of order. I'm gonna give it over just as I wrote it in my head. So don't make a logical thread out of everything I say. Think of it as full stops, okay? We mentioned this Teva, and last week we asked, what is the Teva? Right? The Teva is it. It is the thing. It is like the Zohar of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. It's the it. It is it. It is everything that we want and know in Torah and serving God. The Zohar tells us that it's Noah-ism. Noah the man is this powerful Yesod as below as above. The Torah is emanated out of Adam, the wisdom of Adam, down through Metatron, i.e. Enoch or Hanoch, and it arrives to Noah through the generations, and Noah has the ability to turn his mentalities, his mind, into Torah thoughts. That becomes the Noach of Tzaddik Yesod Olam Zeranpin. And therefore, everything we know in our Torah of Moses about Noah, Lefi Pshuto, i.e. what you hear about Noah literally, is the vessel to understand that it reflects below as above the spirituality of Noah. So therefore, all that came before Noah were irrelevant. Noah, whose mind turns into thoughts of Torah, from Adam all the way through Hanoch Metatron, all the way to Noah, becomes Noah-ism. Noah then builds this Teva the Teva is, imagine King Solomon had this amazing wisdom, and he turned it into 3 books. Those 3 books are the mind of Solomon. You could call it Mashiach ben David, as many do. Well, the same thing happened to Noah. Noah was born fit for this. When Noah turns his mind to Torah, you have this thing called the Teva. It destroys everything else, and out of that comes the offspring, Elotodas Noach. These are the offspring of Noach. Now you have Noah-ism, you have the sons of Noah, and it iterates all through the world, and it is trying to fulfill the mission of maintaining the universe. There are 3 aspects of the Ark Teva: width, height, and length. Now, all of Chassidut in Torah is learned from the Maggid Mezrich, from the Baal Shem Tov, based on Parshas Noach. Go read the Maggid of Mezrich in Parshas Noach. I forget what they call it, but there's like 3 things, like worlds, divinity, I forget what it is. It's the concept of 3 aspects. And to get Noah, you have to understand 3 things at one time: length, width, height. And that's the essence of Chassidus. Rav Ginsburg talks about this in Chabad Chassidus. And we see that there's 3 aspects of Noah: the mind of Noah, the B'nai Noach, and the supreme aspect of the Torah mind of Noach, which is Shem, the Torah of Shem. So if you have this thing from Adam, Chanoch, Metatron, Noah, sons of Noah, the Torah of the mind of Noah, we call it, packaged nicely, the Torah of Shem, and that is delivered to the supreme Ben Noach, which is Abraham, who was called a Ger. Thus, Ger is the Mochin, the godless part, where the mind of Noah is illuminated completely in Torah, which is called the Teva. Okay. This is the secret, obviously, of Adam, David, Moses. It comes from Adam. Moses brought out the Torah, and David is the one who focuses his tzidkis, righteousness, from Noah, who is called a tzaddik. So therefore, Noah-ism is personified by Shem-ism, which is Melchizedek-ism, which was given over to Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the 12 sons, Joseph, and Shem is one of the 4 redeeming craftsmen. And that's why the highest level of the Torah of Moses, the most inner part, is called the Torah of Shem. Okay, as above, below. We talked about that. Talked about that. Everything we hear about Noah serves to be a vessel of meditation to capture the essence of Noah. And then, as we saw, the one rabbi was confused, and the other rabbi said, no, you're looking at it wrong. You're looking at it from the downward point of view. Take what is written about Noah and look at it up. And that's where it's revealed. Noah makes the fruit to endure the world. Therefore, what is the ark? It is Noah-ism. Noah, remember we said a week or 2 ago, Noah united with the ark. Noah was destined to unite with the ark, meaning Noah's mind was meant to go Torah acute in Torah, which is what we call the Torah of Shem. Where we have an argument today is the B'nai Noach themselves. In today's world, remember, there's all these religions and peoples in the world. And ironically, just as there's a surviving Jewish people, which proves that God still runs the world and has a Torah and a mission, there is, fascinatingly enough, still a remnant of B'nai Noach. I don't know if you guys have heard about this, but there's actually a Noahide movement that began to get reinvigorated in the 60s, and it is thriving today, growing bigger and bigger every day. And there's a controversy in the Noahide world, ironically enough. I think it's safe to call it the biggest controversy. If Vendel Jones, his biggest controversial fear, as he said, he was losing his best guys to conversion. Well, today, not Ger Tzedek, but the reintroduction of Ger Toshav, or Ger in short, in the Bnei Noach world is creating a massive question. The question is this Ger thing an integral part of Bnei Noach, or is it the Erev Rav that needs excluded? Or do we say that Ger is actually the Mochin, the godless of Noach, and a serious Ben Noach is called a Ger Toshav? So that's the misunderstanding today. My opinion is you actually have to have both. You have to have your traditional Bnei Noach, because we have the Lefib Shuto Bnei Noach Kalim below. But we know that the Ger Toshav Sugya is part of the Bnei Noach Sugya, to the point where in the Torah of Moshe, the Bnei Noach are part of the Ger Toshav Sugya. And we know that Noah's mind went Torah, and Torah and Moshe are one. Noah, his mind went Torah. Moshe and Shem and Noach all share the same soul according to Kabbalah. So just as there must be dimensions of a teva, which suggests that it's a boat in its Lefib Shuto understanding below, divorced from above, when we understand how God builds the universe, the measure of building the mochin, the mentalities that are in the teva above, that will match the measure of the teva. So if you understand above, you understand the story below. You don't understand the story above, you don't understand the story below. If you don't understand the story below because you don't believe the story above, you will not understand the story below. All of this is the secret of Malchus. We talk about the mind of Adam, the mind of Moses, the mind of David, and now we're introducing what that not prototype. I guess the prototype is the mind of Noah, because it eradicated everything that came before it. It was par excellence, and the Torah of Shem witnessing the Torah of his father becomes that thing. And again, just as Noah is the Tzaddik Yesod Olam who builds Malchus, as it is above, Noah builds the Teva below. 3 measurements, length, width, and height. The length is 300. The width is the 50. The height is the union of the two. And if you understand how Malchus is built as a Teva above, you will read the story of Noah and say, hey, just as it is above, it is below. And the Zohar concludes, the building of the Teva by Noah was the measurement of the building of Malchus by the Yesod of Zeranpin. So Noah was destined to unite with the Teva. Noah unites with the Teva. The Teva becomes the Torah enlightened mind of Noah. The sons of Noah then receive from that, and they go out into the world, and that's what maintains the world. Every development of that maintains the world and eradicates all that came before it. Concerning the Bnei Noach, and we know that at Sinai, Bnei Noach Torah becomes Ger Toshav, the Torah of Moses, which inherited the Torah of Shem, and that's where we are today, is that it's not one or the other. You must have Bnei Noach, you must have Ger Toshav, you can't divorce the two, and yes, there's a friction between them, but those both make up what is this thing called the Mochin of Noach, which is the Teva. When you understand the big picture of Noah in the Lefib Shuto of the Torah as it's written, then you will understand above. When you understand above, you can gain a clearer perspective of below. Was there a boat and a flood in the sky? That's the wrong way to ask the question. What you should say is, was there a Teva? There was. Was it described in a certain way per force? Yes. But does it reflect the secret of above? Yes. What was the essence of below? We know on a conceptual level, it is the Torah mind of Noah. How that manifested in the world, the question of that is, what does Malchus look like in this world? That's something that I've never seen. Noah and his generation saw it. We are actually living in it. We are in the middle of it, in this B'nai Noach movement. And what we need is the wisdom of how to build the Teva in order to witness the Teva, and then we can see how the world is to survive and endure. God brings the end of days, the wars in the end, whatever God's plan is, to see how the world is receiving its salvation due to the ark, the Teva that Noah built and united with. That's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for next time. We'll continue with Zohar, Parshas Noach.